Have you ever thought my life cannot get any worse? And then it just did. In the last 8 months, I have lost my home, love of my life, my business partner, and most of my savings. I survived domestic violence, built business from nothing, moved countries, got scammed, lost thousands, and in 3 months I still don't know where I'm going to live. Hi, welcome to my channel Barb Unfiltered, and this is the story that made me create this podcast. Because if I've survived all of this, you can definitely survive anything too. I thought that falling in love with my best friend was the best thing that could happen to me. I actually waited 2 years before I confessed my feelings to him. That's how careful I thought I was being. And eventually, he said yes to my proposal to relationship. After 6 months, I moved to his place and I was thinking, that's it. I got the love of my life. The things started to go downwards right after 6 months of living there. Not only that I got bullied by two women living next door, something about my boyfriend started to be off. It got to a point when I was physically sick coming home. Not only because of my neighbors constantly harassing me, but also thanks to having no backup at home. From silent drama, it got to threats from my neighbors and very weird behavior from my boyfriend. And one day, it wasn't psychological anymore. It was beautiful sunny day when my boyfriend decided to beat me out of nowhere. And he chose the day before I was going for a weekend workshop. So I ran. And the next day, I was posing for cameras, covering my bruises and my choke marks. I never came back, apart from my things and for my cats. And I moved to temporary accommodation, which was office. I got very bad PTSD and insomnia. I was sleeping 2 hours in a day, barely falling asleep 6 o'clock in the morning. But something inside me decided that this will not break me. And I used my insomnia to build a business plan. For the next 6 months, I was learning business, sales, and marketing, and I came up with a business plan so good that I actually found investors to back me up with money. Not a lot, but enough to move and start over. I was collapsing physically, but mentally I was determined. But it was only me, and I felt like me against the whole world. And not trusting myself fully at that point, I asked my trusted long-term friend to start the business with me and go 50-50. I planned everything, I have organized everything. I found the house big enough to start our business. And even though 1 month before my relocation, I got some job cancellation and lost again thousands of euros, I took my two cats and traveled 4,000 kilometers anyways. I knew I have a friend, and that friend promised to pay everything 50-50 so we can start the business properly. And when I got to the place, I thought, this is it. I finally can start over. I have relaxed for 1 day. I was so happy. And that's when I lost my documents. No ID, no driving license. In the rural parts of Spain, very inconvenient. But I thought if I have survived until now, I can survive anything. That's when the worst winter in a 60 years hit Spain. Crazy storms and floods hit the whole Andalusia. And it affected me as well, because what I found was that the house is a scam. It looks nice, but it's horrible. For the next 2 weeks, I have lived in a house that had major problems. And just to pick a few, I was constantly living in 13 degrees because the chimney had a failure and my ceiling caught on fire. Not to mention that the rain was leaking through the door, windows, and even roof. That's where my battle to get my money back and terminate the contract started. At this point, my long trusted friend started to ghost me and didn't pay me any money. I did survive violence, but I didn't know I will have to survive betrayal as well. I couldn't sleep, I was cold, and I was depressed. For another week, ChatGPT was my only friend and only real help. In a country where I didn't speak the language and landlord trying to scam me, it was the only option how to fight and win my deposit back. And in the end, I did it. Although to the very last second, landlord hoped that I will withdraw. But I didn't. And I got the contract termination and my deposit back. But now I faced another problem. Where to go, and that I have only 2/3 of the money because my long trusted friend didn't show up for me. And because there were floods everywhere in Andalusia, it was very hard to find anything, especially with 2 cats. I have found Airbnb to accommodate me, but it was very pricey. And so my hunt for accommodation just continued. In the end, after a week, I haven't found anything but a holiday rental. And at this point, my savings were burned. But it was better than nothing and the only thing I could afford. So I took my cats and relocated again. Now I'm here in the studio. My cats hate it, my savings are burned, and I don't have my documents to get a job here. Because, by the way, embassy didn't help me at all. So I don't know where I will live in 3 months, and I don't know how I will recover the money, but I do know one thing. Every time life tried to corner me, I built something instead of breaking. So maybe stability isn't a place, but it's a skill. In 2 weeks, I'm going back to my country to obtain new documents. And I'm grabbing my car and driving 3,000 kilometers here. If you want to know how this unfolds, follow my journey, subscribe, and follow my Instagram.